All right, so here is George's question. So he kind of sent in a screenshot to kind of illustrate. So what George would like to do is, based on the closing price of the bar, so we can see a little arrow here. So right, so this is a down bar. So obviously the close is down at the bottom, right? The close is down below here, and so he wants to set the stop loss one tick inside the body of the bar, but basically, so if it's a down bar, it's going to be one tick above the close. But if this happened to be an up bar, right, then you would take the close of the bar and it'd be one tick minus the close to keep the stop loss inside the body. So from the closing price of the bar, regardless of whether it's a down bar or an up bar, he wants the stop loss one tick offset from the close, but inside the body. So just kind of thinking through all the different scenarios here, right? So this is a screenshot of a long trade. And of course, this long trade could have occurred on a down bar, or in this case, we can see that this long trade occurred on an up bar. Yeah, so this whole entire custom calculation is going to have to be done by a custom indicator. So we've already discussed in a previous BlackBird workshop, that if you want to identify the top of the body, versus the bottom of the body, you'll need a custom indicator that provides the price for the top of the body, right? Because the top of the body could be the closing price, or it could be the open of the bar, right? So, depending if the candle, or depending if the bar is an up bar or a down bar, right? The top of the body, could be two different prices. So, so doing some kind of custom logic like that, requires a custom indicator to identify, the top of the body price. Which price is the top of the body? Is it the close or is it the open? Versus the bottom of the body, which is it the open or the close? So yeah, because this particular type of logic here, sometimes you're one tick inside. Well, first, to start with, again, you would need that custom indicator that, identifies, so in this situation, actually, we're not dealing with the top or the bottom of the body, but it's one tick inside the bar. So again, you'll just need custom logic to determine, which direction is inside the bar, right? So if it's a down bar, then you're adding one tick to the closing price. But if it's an up bar, then you're subtracting one tick from the close. Actually, you know what? Actually, I think this might I take it back. This actually might be possible to do in BlackBird. Yeah, but let's see. Well, we're dealing with the previous. Yeah, this is possible to do inside of BlackBird. However, just, you always got to keep in mind that when you're setting stop losses really close to where the market is trading, that you're just going to run into issues where, the market's moving so fast these days that you're just going to run into issues where, where your logic is trying to move the stop loss, to a price that's no longer valid because the market has moved so fast. So you always just got to keep that in mind here. But as far as building out the logic here, let's just run through that process here. So let's see. All right, I'm going to remove. Actually, yeah, let me just clear everything out here. I'm just going to start from scratch here. So, all right. So let's create an entry order, and we're just going to focus on the stop loss. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by putting the stop loss at the median price of the bar, right? So typically the median price of the bar is going to be somewhere inside the body. So that should give us a good starting price by putting the stop loss in the median. Actually, no. Yeah, there's a problem with putting starting a stop loss in the median of the bar is problematic because by default you cannot move stop losses backwards, right? You cannot widen a stop loss. So, using this screenshot here, if the stop loss starts in the median price of this bar, right, that's going to be a tick or two above where this stop loss currently is. And so trying to move that stop loss down or move that stop loss away from this long trade would not be possible. So we're going to need to start our stop loss basically at the low of the bar if it's a long trade, at the low of the bar, or if it's a short trade, we'll start our stop loss at the high of the bar and then move it to that one tick offset from the closing price. So that way we're starting the stop loss further away and then moving it closer to the market. So always keep that in mind, right? Your stop losses are only going to move closer to the market. So, all right. So let's restart this stop loss over again. So let's start by using the previous bar, low or high price, right? So from the options tab here, the initial placement, right? So if it's a long trade, we're going to start our stop loss at the low price, right? And of course, if it's a short trade, then we'll start our stop loss at the high price. Now, to move that stop loss to the closing price inside the bar, now we can create two custom trailing rules here. So we're going to set our mode to custom and add a trailing rule here. All right, so we're going to need one trailing rule if it's an up bar, and then we'll need another trailing rule if it's a down bar. So if it's an up bar, let's see, we're going to go into we're going to use the trigger mechanisms to determine whether it's an up bar. All right, so to do that, we're going to use the price versus indicator trigger method here. And so if it's an up bar, the close of the bar, right, is going to be higher than the open of the bar here. So for input B, we're going to set that to price and then set it to the open price, right? So we can compare the closing price of the bar to the open price of the bar. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, so for long mode, we want A above B, right? So if it's an up bar, the close is going to be above the open. And the same thing for short mode. So this is kind of a non-standard, atypical setting here. But we want both the long and the short mode to be A above B, right? Because we're identifying up bars. So it doesn't matter if it's a long trade or a short trade in this particular case. We just want to know, right, is this an up bar? All right. And the action is going to be, let's see, we're going to move this stop loss to the close So if it's an up bar, it's going to be the close minus 1 tick. And in this particular case, so we need to turn off the sync here, right? So you can see this, there's a synchronize button here. And what this does is this allows us to set the short offset to -1 tick and the long offset to -1 tick. So we're able to desynchronize the settings here. All right, so this synchronizing, basically, when you set the long side, it reverses everything for the short trade side, right? That's how the short trade is able to automatically set itself, right? When you're setting the long side, the short side's automatically able to set itself. And that's because of this synchronization capability here. And you can turn that synchronizing off by using that button right there, right? So, all right. So there we go. So if it is a up bar, right, we want to take the closing price of an up bar and minus, we want to subtract 1 tick down from the close, right? And that'll put our stop loss inside the body of that bar. So now we just need to reverse everything for down bars. All right, so let's do this again here. So for our trigger, we're going to use price versus indicator. And input A, we'll keep that on the closing price. We'll set input B. Again, we'll set that to the open. So there's the open. And now this time, A is below B. There we go. A is below B. So, and let's see here. Yeah, just a little note here. Obviously, if the bar is a doji, then, we don't have an up or down bar. So obviously, nothing's going to happen if it's a doji. So if the bar is a doji, the stop loss is just going to stay at either, the stop loss is going to stay at either the low or the high of the bar, right? So these trailing rules are not going to do anything if it's a doji bar, right? So obviously the close has to be above the open or the close price has to be below the open in order to do something here. All right. So there's the trigger for a down bar, and the action is going to be, again, we're going to take the close of the bar, and our synchronizing button is turned off here. But this time, if it's a down bar, we want to add a positive, right? We're going to add a positive 1 tick to the close of the bar. And there we have it. So we're done. So this was set up to run with the calculate on bar close. All right, so if we go into the triggers here, right, if we look at the close price, or the open price, our look back period is set to 1. So this is designed to work with calculate on bar close. And the reason why I mention this is because I know that George's system was designed to operate in real time, right? So the entry signal is designed to operate in real time here. So, so the signal was designed to occur while, this up bar is forming here. So he's actually using the closed bar's prices, right? So if your system is designed to operate on the forming bar, in real time, then what we've done here is you need to take all of these prices and increase the look back period by 1. So that way we're using the closed bar and not the bar that's forming. Again, that all depends on the calculate mode that you have BlackBird running in. So if calculate is set to on price changed, or if the calculate is set to on each tick, then that is when you need to increase the look back period for both prices here, for both the close and the open, and you have to do that right for both trailing rules. You need to go in and increase that look back period for everything, and also the action. Right, you got anytime you're referencing a price here for that stop loss, you need to increase that look back period to 2 so that you're using the close or the open of the previous closed bar. Right, so increase all the look back periods like so. All right, so now those settings will now function correctly when BlackBird is set to on price change or on each tick. All right, so that is question number 2. That was emailed in. George is saying, can we see it in action? Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry. Yeah, I usually always do testing here. So, yeah, let's test this out here. All right. So let's see here. All right. If I go long, oh yeah, shoot! I just went long right as price poked its head down here. Let's see here. Let me move the market up a little bit. All right. So now if I go long, there we go, and hold on, let me just a moment here. Let me make sure I got everything set up correctly. Yeah. Let's see. All right, so BlackBird is running on price change. Okay, great. So it is running on price change, and let's just take a look at everything. All right, look back period is 2, and here we go. So I did miss something here. So there we go. So we want a +1, +1. Let's see, that's a down bar. Yeah, +1, +1. All right, so there's that. And let me just double check here. All right, everything's set to 2. Below. All right, A above B. Set to 2, set to 2. All right, there. I think everything's working correctly now. Yeah. Okay. Let's try this again here. And, that's right. There is one more thing I need to do. So, what I did not do is the initial placement. So, in the initial placement, I did not set my look back period to 2. So there you go. There's one thing I did miss. All right. So now we'll set the stop loss at the low or the high of the closed bar. There we go. Okay. So let's click OK now. All right. So let's see here. So if we go, let's see. All right. Yeah, I was just thinking to myself if the initial placement was going to work in every situation. Yeah, and I think it should. Yeah. So, all right, let's do this one more time here. So if we go short, there we go. We can see the stop loss started at the high of the bar and then moved to the close plus a tick. There we go. Now, if I move the market up, and there we have it. So for a long trade, right, the stop loss started at the low and then took the close of the bar and added 1 tick. Let's do this one more time here. Actually, geez, that was so quick, didn't even move. All right, yeah, sometimes it happens so quick, don't even see the stop loss moving here. There we go. There. I at least was able to see the stop loss started at the low for a split second and then moved up to the close minus a tick. There we go. So there was a short. All right, started at the high and then went down to the close plus a tick. Do that one more time. Yeah, sometimes that's happening so quick, can't even see it. So, all right, so there you go, George. Hopefully you guys were able to see that through the webinar. There you go. I was able to see that stop loss move that time. All right. Yeah. So, all right, there you go, George. So just to kind of summarize what we did here, right? We designed a trailing rule that identifies up bars and another trailing rule that identifies down bars. And then we used a trigger condition, to evaluate whether, it's an up bar. So the trigger price versus indicator trigger method, is what's doing the calculation, to determine whether it's an up bar, is the close above the open or is the close below the open, right? So two trigger rules set differently, and then the action, is to take that closing price and either you're subtracting a tick from the closing price, right, or you're adding a tick to the closing price, depending if it's an up bar or a down bar. All right, so that's a summary of basically what we did there. So.